Hello everyone. As my first video, I'm here the game played between Wesley Su and Ian Nepomniachtchi. This game played is in Champion Chess Tour final and I believe it's a perfect game for beginners to learn chess. And let's see what happens in the game. As you guys can see, Nepomniachtchi with the white pieces and open the game with the e4 and Wesley Su respond with the e5, knight f3, knight c6 and bishop c4 Italian game. Wesley responds with the knight f6, two knight defense, and in two knight defense, white has an opportunity to take attack in the first of the game, knight g5, and threatening to take fork between queen and the rook. And black has only one move to block bishop's diagonal. Pawn d5, pawn takes d5, and every new player is doing mistake in this game. And in this position, every new player is taking the knight pawn on d5 and leading this attack. Knight takes f5, after king takes f5, queen f3 check, and so on. Every YouTubers I saw, they're saying this. But in this move, black has to play knight a5, attacking directly to the bishop. If bishop moves to b3, we will take the bishop on b3, and after bishop's b5 check, we place pawn c6, blocking the check, and after exchanging the pawns, you guys can see black has good development and he's fine. But anyway, after knight f6, Nepomniachtchi plays d3, bishop e7, both players castle in this move, knight d2, pawn d5, exchanging the pawns in the center, rook e1, putting the room for the knight on f1, and f6, pawn a4, king h8, unpinning the knight, pawn h3, and stopping any idea for blocking the knight with the pinning the knight with the bishop, bishop f5, knight h4, attacking the bishop, bishop e6, knight f1, and in the next move he can play simply knight g3 or knight e3. Anyway, queen d7, defending the bishop and connecting the rooks, and knight can move freely in the next move, knight g3, rook d8, bishop d2, pawn a6, and pawn a5, stopping any b5 actions, and g6, knight f3, rook e8, knight e4, bishop g8, queen c1, and knight b4. Of course, this knight b4, exchanging the bishop, and bishop e3, pawn f5, attacking the knight, knight c5, attacking the queen, queen d5, and knight moves to the a4 to put the knight on c3 and attack the queen again. But it doesn't matter really. Bishop f6, knight c3, attacking the queen, queen d6, rook a4, and knight d4, as the queen defending the knight, exchanging the knight and bishop and attacking the knight, knight e2, pawn c5, defending the knight with the pawn, queen d2, rook e7, as semi-open file is blocked with the knight. Wesley Su simply can double up the rook on the e file. Anyway, rook a1, rook d8, doubling up the rooks, rook d1, queen c7, and played after knight c6, knight g3, queen c7, exchanging the rooks, and rook a1. I don't know why he played rook a1, and this pawn is threat. King g7, knight e2, rook e8, knight f4, queen d6, pawn g3, bishop d8, to putting the bishop in this diagonal to attacking the king in the next move, or maybe for 10 moves later. Pawn h4, h6, and king g2, and it's a bad move. Why it's a bad move? Because white could play rook e1 to putting the rook against the rook e8 on the semi-open file, and after queen d8 we will simply exchanging the rooks and so on, and this is the positions. It's a draw. But after king g2, why it's king g2 it's a bad move? Because the knight of the f4, and he has no good move after the pawn g5 attacking the knight. And as you guys can see, knight g5 and knight has no good move. If he plays knight h3, of course it's a bad move because this fork, and if he plays like exchanging the pawns and knight e2, because there is no good move, and there is a better opportunity for black to play queen d5, pinning the knight and threatening the take a pawn on g4. And you guys must know pawn is the pin killer on the chess, and if your opponent is the pin, you must attack the pinned pawn with the pinned pieces with the pawn. Anyway, if c4 it happens, queen e6 threatening to take the knight. After rook e1, g4, simply knight h4, because the knight has nowhere to go, knight e5, and knight g1, and so on. As you guys can see, black has a good opportunity to attack, like taking the knight and rest of the game. But after that, knight e2, Wesley Su plays g4. It's a good move again, but queen d5 was better. Knight h2, rook h8, knight f4, and now knight e5, threatening to sacrifice the rook and taking the fork between king and queen. Queen e2, stopping that idea. Bishop c7, rook h1, and queen c6 check, king g1, and king f8. And there is a good move, and I want you guys to feel free to pause the video and find the best move for Wesley Su. If you was black, what you played? I'll give you a couple of seconds. If you guys can find this move, congratulations guys, it's perfect. Queen h6. And one of the wise men says, when the pieces is a pin, he's like dead already, and to be there to attack the pinned pieces. Knight is a pin on h1. If knight moves, it doesn't matter to anywhere else. Queen takes h1, it's a checkmate. But f3 to making the places for the king. Knight takes f3 check, king f2, and now bishop d6. It's a waiting move. After pawn c4, knight takes h2, queen e1, and you guys can see king f7. It's a waiting move and threatening to put a rook on the open file like e1. Anyway, uh, after that, Dingliren doesn't see the. I said Dingliren, Wesley so doesn't see that. He plays King f7, Queen f1, but it doesn't matter again. Knight, because knight it's pin and has good opportunity. Like bishop takes a5, and making the candidate of the passed pawn. After queen a1, he simply can put bishop d5 to taking this knight, or can we say to putting the knight on f3. After knight g2, simply king e6, and you guys can see this all the pieces is doing absolutely nothing, because when the pieces moves to the defense, they're getting weak and weaker. But anyway, after the king queen f1, rook takes h2 happens, and that was weird. Rook takes h2, knight f3 check, king h1 only move, bishop takes knight, pawn takes bishop, and knight h2 take check, taking the rook with the check, king h2, queen f3, and this is the whites have a good move to draw the game, and this is hard to spot, and it's queen e1. As you guys can see, queen f3 check, king g2, and queen c7. The black and the white, both of them has no opportunity to attack, and this is the strangely it's completely draw. But after that, queen f3, queen g2, and queen takes f4 check, knight g1, queen c1 check, knight h2, queen h6 check, knight g1, king g1, and queen c1 check, knight h2, and black has a good move to win the game. And for the second time, I'm asking you guys to pause the video and find the best move for the black, while I give you a couple of seconds. If you guys find it, congratulations guys, is perfect move, and it's king to g6. Why king to g6 is a good move? For two reasons. First of all, queen takes b7, it's not coming with the check, and second of it, it's an end game, and end game kings must be to be active in the game. And as you guys can see, it's end game, and king, we need king on these squares. After queen takes b7, we don't care, queen f1, queen takes a6 check, king g5, and queen b7, queen takes f2 check, queen g2, we can't exchange it because the pass pawn, and after queen h4 check, king g1, queen, or this is the pawn, queen e1 check, and taking the pass pawn, and white has no opportunity to defend these positions. But after king h2, Wesley Su plays queen f4 check. I don't know why he didn't see that. King g1 and queen c7, defending the pawns, while he could have put the king on the closer to the enemy and attack it. Anyway, queen h1, king g6, but it's too late for doing that. Queen h8, and I'm doing this faster. Queen f7, queen e5, and after a couple of the moves, As you guys can see, white has a black was better, but he couldn't use his opportunity. Queen e5, f5 check, and king g7, queen takes g4, and this is the best move for you guys to find. And for the third time, I'm asking you guys to feel free to pause the video and tell me what you would do if you were black pieces. If you guys find it, congratulations guys, it's too important. For why is important? Knight king f6. King f6 why is important? Because of the shouldering. If you guys can see, black has the shouldering now, and if queen f5 check, king g7, queen g4, and black has no opportunity to move the king. After king f6, if capturing happens, queen h4 check, and black has to defend it, and queen h2 check, and so on. But after that, Wesley Su played blunder. He plays king to f7. Why king to f7? It's different now. Why is different? Because there is no shouldering, and king can simply move on and close this piece, pawns, and it's too dangerous. Queen takes f3, queen takes c2, and now king e5 check, king g7, queen f6 check, king h8, queen takes a6, and queen takes b6. And there was a lot of moves for the white, like queen a7 check, and use this opportunity. But he plays queen c4 check, and Wesley Su has the opportunity to move the queen and activate the queen and give a lot of checks for taking the draw, but he plays queen c3, and it's a losing game because the queen on the c3, it's away off the game, and queen f7 check, king x6, and after that, after queen h6, Wesley Su resigned the game because there is nothing to do about this checkmate. And what I mean, playing king f6 and threatening mate on the one move, and if queen takes g3, it's a checkmate on two move, and it doesn't matter. And I'm wondering why Wesley Su lost his old attempt to attacking the perfectly, like you guys know, like queen d5 and like queen h6. It doesn't matter again, but anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you enjoyed it, you can send it to your friends in a bar or library, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.